Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by
Women in Linux Summit 2017. Join our online conference with live instructors and speakers as they provide real-world interactive tech training in a collaborative environment on Saturday, August 19th, 2017. Visit womeninlinux.com for tickets. Use code WILTSN for a 10% discount. The Sphere Network. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today at advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789. Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, Dr. Ashandra Baptiste understands that one of the biggest obstacles is dental fear. The vision at Elite Dental Wellness is to ensure every patient is treated with respect, ultimate care, patience, and love. Call us today to make an appointment at area code 713-789-8680.
Welcome back to another episode of Technocrats, where we talk about the ins and outs of technology to empower the digital you. I am your host, Gary Lee, also known as G Hawkins. Of course, you can find me anywhere online: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, at G Hawkins. That's G Hawkins with a Z. And of course, I'm with my main man, Jay, today. Jay, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm smelling some of those good desserts downstairs, man. I'm hungry like I don't know what. But
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. You're going to make you hungrier, man.
But I'm going to push through,
It's going to make you
man.
hungrier. So, we have to.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to push through. I can't tell you the stress I be on.
Oh, man.
Trying to stay. I don't know how I keep under a certain weight, man.
People, G Hawkins literally be in those streets handling business. So I can tell you all.
Yeah.
When you come to H-Town, you got to check them out.
Man, look, it's tough out here, brother. It's tough out here. But I want to say welcome to all those that are on Facebook Live, for those that are watching us live, for those that are going to watch us later. Remember, we're only on for about 15 minutes or so you want to make sure you go over to the sphere.tv/Technocrats and subscribe to all the platforms, that's iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and YouTube. We've got some YouTube stuff going, plus Stitcher for our techie folks. So if you're watching it right now, you can see the links on your screen. All you have to do is click on one of those icons, and you can get right over to our subscription. Plus, we got some other news coming down the pipe in the fall that we'll talk about, as far as other places as you can find shows that are on the Sphere. So, man, there's a lot going on in the news this week, man, especially from a tech perspective.
Yes, it is.
You ready to dive into this?
Yeah, let's get in there.
All right, let's talk about one of the big boys, right? So, obviously, there are a lot of big companies that continue to make moves and make waves. One in particular is Microsoft. And it looks like they're doing some things in the rural areas. They're bringing some connectivity out to the rural areas that's ultimately important if you truly want to have a digital America. Jay, let's talk about this for a minute. What's going on, man?
Yeah, so Microsoft just made a good announcement publicly about 2 weeks ago where they are at for utilizing, providing broadband to the rural areas, utilizing the spectrum, the TV spectrum, what they call white space. That's used to be used for certain channels, but now since everything has been digital since 2006 or 7, a lot of those channels and within that spectrum are not being utilized anymore. So they found the way, what they really call a super Wi-Fi. And
Super Wi-Fi.
Super Wi-Fi is taking advantage of this white space in between the different channels. So say you have channel 7, but you not using but channel 3, you have 4, 5, and 6 in between. You can use that bandwidth in between there and push out internet broadband services, and you can transmit it and cover different areas by leveraging different antennas.
So here's my thing. The word that stands out for me is efficiency.
Yes.
Especially when you're talking about the FCC, and space is theoretically limited, whatever the case is, however we want to look at that. But if we can deliver more bandwidth, if we can deliver things to areas that we couldn't deliver beforehand, along with all of the other services, and we talked about this last week, right? You've got these different VR platforms that need more bandwidth. You've got other companies that are working in an AR space that need more bandwidth. Everybody needs more bandwidth. Everybody needs more speed.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we forget about the rural areas because in the metroplex or the metropolitan areas, everybody's got connectivity everywhere. I mean, there's at least 24 Wi-Fi connections sitting on your phone right now that you can try to connect to. So I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see dollars, grant dollars go in the right direction. The question is, long term, do you think this is something that's going to hit and spread, or what do you foresee happening in the future with this?
Okay, well, the answer to that I'll say is a lot of complexity. And if this actually is going to get off the ground, like I say, this is something for a long-term investment. They're not going to see a return. Microsoft will see it based off advertisements and different things at Google as well.
Yeah.
Also, too, they have to go to the FCC to be able to make sure they can keep this stuff licensure and held nationwide, these spectrums to be available to transmit this broadband. And Microsoft right now don't have a really good relationship with the FCC because they didn't bid on buying these things, but now they're asking to get them free. And the FCC doesn't like that they're trying to get this white space. But overall, these different broadband providers, running fiber cable and things like that, that's very expensive, take a very long time, especially through different terrains of these rural areas. So I don't think this is going to solve it all. I know there are other type of fiber, air fiber, other type of things out there, 5G mesh, different things that Facebook talk about doing with the drones being in the air, in the sky. So I don't know, but I did want to mention too that while I was at Rice University, one of the things that I actually was working on is a white space. And that's an article I think that our tech just showed up earlier, and also too is a video there on YouTube. This actually goes back to 2010, and we had Ryan Guerrero working with Dr. Edward Knightley in the Rice Network Group Engineering Department, collaborating with the Center for Multimedia Communications at Rice, and they went to different rural areas out there past the Pasadena and Pearland area. And they put up these apparatus and things, and they was able to take advantage of the spectrum. And it caught a lot of great attention. So I wanted to show that this was interesting. This actually took place here at Houston, and it was going on at the Rice University back in 2010 and 2011. And now we fast forward about 6 years later, we see that Microsoft is actually at the point to start doing this in more places in the United States. They've been doing it in other countries, but now they're actually trying to bring it to 12 states in the country.
Why not a well, let me ask this question. Okay. Do you feel like that government needs to get involved outside of FCC, obviously, but do you feel like local politics need to get involved to continue this push, or do you feel like an entity like a Microsoft can come into an area and really spearhead this from conception to production?
I feel like the local politics need to get involved. They can make a claim and say, hey, this will help boost the economy, to create jobs, just be able to give us award bids to different contractors in the small cities and states. Also, to help them be able to bring in smart infrastructure and the smart cities and IoTs and other things you talked about earlier, you just mentioned. So it's going to take a whole mesh of different type of technology. And as we talked about last week, the edge computing and the fog computing and other different things that's leveraging the cloud on the end, you're going to need all these different things to be able to support all these different vehicles that's coming out and all these services that we're going to want. Even the AR, VR from my mobile phone, these things are going to have to be there. So these cities cannot afford to get behind. So I think it's in their best interest to try to get the FCC to work on Microsoft and Google to go ahead and say, okay, you all can at least, give us some bread toward these channels and the spectrum, and and we can help everybody at the same time. So because it makes no sense in America not there to be internet for everyone.
Very true.
I had no idea it was that millions of people who still don't have internet in America.
Man, that's crazy.
Can't get it. Yeah.
Well, luckily, we're talking about it right here. So if anybody who's in, hey, Melissa, we see you chimed in. Appreciate the love. Make sure you hit that share button. But we want to know, do y'all know somebody who's living in a rural area right now that does not have internet access, that's in need of it? Let us know. We'd like to reach out and just have this conversation or share this show with them. Hit us up. Let us know if you know somebody. Technocrats at thesphere.tv, or hit us up on social media at thesphere.tv. #Technocrats, because like I said, we want to have these conversations. It's important, very important. What's also important is possibly important.
Yes.
is wireless charging. Now, and not just wireless charging for your phone, because when we talk about wireless charging, most people are thinking, man, okay, it's a novelty, whatever. I want to sit my phone down on something and let it charge. Charge is kind of slow, whatever. We're actually talking about wireless charging of your car. Now, Mercedes, out of all people, Mercedes, I just got to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Out of all people, Mercedes has said that they're planning to launch a wireless charging system next year, right? The company that currently doesn't have a mass market EV is talking about launching a wireless charging system before they even talk about launching cars that can charge on it.
Yes.
Now, we're not talking about overtly fast charging, right? 11 kilowatts, limited down to 3.6 kilowatts, at least in the beginning. So we're not necessarily, pushing high power, but the effort and the thought, I think, is what's important. And we can dive into the nitty gritty of what wireless charging is, all these things. But from a consumer perspective, we want to talk about what's important to you, which is you're seeing these changes happen with car companies that are preparing for the future. Now, I personally think they want to have this nomenclature of saying our company is the first to deliver this, because now you can make headlines. Now we can have a conversation.
Right.
Mercedes is the first one to have wireless charging for your car. Okay, that's cool, but y'all have no vehicles, or at least no mass market
Not
vehicles
till
here
2018,
in the United States.
Right.
So and you've worked on some things that horrendous. The B series, we've seen. I don't know for those who are familiar with Mercedes B series, but it's an electric car. It looks horrible. Nobody want that.
Yeah.
It looks like it looks worse than the old school Chevy Volt, and maybe a little bit like the Bolt. But needless to say, they want to do this. Jay, does this propel you to consider Mercedes as an electric car company, or a company that you would want to buy an electric car from?
Well, I was looking at I was reading what they had to say in the article, and I don't think it's going to really be anything that's going to make me want to jump ship from Maserati, Porsche, Tesla, because it's going to only come in limited models, and also it's going to be a cost option. So you're probably going to spend another extra $4,000 or $5,000 to get it, and also too, in order to get it, it's probably going to have to change some things the way that's inside of the trunk space or in the rear seats, and it's going to be in the S-Class models, and he's boasting this to come out within 2018, but the charging time is going to take too long. And just like with Tesla and other cars, you have to make sure you have that type of electrical circuit in the house that can handle it. I think it is cool that they, as you can see on the picture on the screen, and we can show a picture there for those who are watching the video podcast, you can see where they have the car. They had a car parked, and then they have the thing plugged into a regular electrical circuit going to a panel box, and then they had a primary call that's stationary. That stays in that area of the driveway or whatever. Then they had a secondary call, which is on the actual vehicle going to charge up the high voltage battery. So that mechanism thing seems very simple and straightforward, but like I say, it's a lot of different kinks, and they telling us it's going to be a while, and even BMW is utilizing the same technology. But what I foretell or foresee is that Tesla or General Electric going to end up being the main provider for everyone.
Here's the thing, man. Yes. We'll talk about it later. Yeah. We've got some stuff coming down the pipe. I'll hold my comment till later.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but speaking about these different technology, most of all these systems are going to run on Linux.
That's true.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Women in Linux Summit 2017. Women in Linux is a vibrant community supporting women in Linux-centric tech careers. Women in Linux hosts an active educational podcast and a job board for open Linux career opportunities. Plus, Women in Linux has a database of scholarships and resources for students in computer sciences, engineering, and technology. And now Women in Linux has something special for you. Are you curious about how you fit into technology? Have you ever felt lost in your tech-based journey? Ever wondered what skills to focus on next? Or could you just not afford to attend a tech conference? Women in Linux Summit 2017 virtual conference is for you. The conference has live instructors and speakers providing real-world interactive tech training in a collaborative environment on Saturday, August the 19th, 2017. Visit womeninlinux.com for tickets. Use WILTSN for a 10% discount.
There it is, 10% off. WILTSN, as in Women in Linux with the Sphere Network. So
yes.
I love that. Shout out to Women in Linux. What's up, ladies? Good luck, because it's coming up. I can't wait for this.
Yes.
And honestly, we actually spoke at one of their conferences, which was great. We did a panel discussion, so that was dope. Just being able, I've never been on a panelist on a conference, especially let alone a virtual conference. So for me, that was new. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. And we're going to continue to have a great time over here, Facebook Live, folks. But we want to say thank you once again for tuning in. We truly appreciate your love, your support, your patronage. Remember, this episode is going to continue, but you got to be subscribed to get the rest of it. So go over to the sphere.tv/Technocrats. We've got 4 subscription options for you. We've got iTunes, we've got SoundCloud, we've got Google Play, and of course, we've got Stitcher. Now, while you're there, while you're hopped on and you're subscribed, make sure you review us. Let us know how we're doing. Put some stars up there, make some comments. We want to be able to have a better show for you, so we need your support. So let us know.
Yes.
Now, while you're doing that, share this out to your family, your colleagues, your friends, your loved ones, everyone and anyone. Make sure you get the content out to let them know that you've got a place that you're getting your source of technology information each and every week. And last but not least, if you love what we're doing, so go ahead and donate. Donate over at the sphere.tv/donate. We've got 2 donation options, a single donation as well as a Patreon donation, because we're constantly in need to grow and we want to sow back into you. So remember, get the rest of this episode up later tonight on the sphere.tv. So let's keep this party rolling. Moving away from Mercedes, let's move over into our Mobility Weekly. Now, Mobility Weekly, we like to talk about things that are happening in the mobile space. In particular, Apple. Good old Apple just had earnings. Apple just slid back from earnings. Apple, because it's hard in the tech space right now.
Yes.
It's a tough second quarter 2017 in the market for tech. But Apple's talking about something that you and I talked about not too long ago. We made a prediction for those that are tuned in, for those that are faithful subscribers. Jay and I sat at this table and said, the phone is dead. We love it. We adore it. We run out. We buy a new one. But we're not even talking phones anymore. That's not where the focus is. The focus right now is on glasses. It's on something that can sit on your face, that can give you everything you need in a very small and thin footprint in an augmented reality way, meaning an overlay of content on top of the real world. No more digging in your pocket. Everything you need is literally a heads-up display. Now, obviously, in a virtual reality, you can't really function in society because you need to see what things are happening. Right. And you don't want to have to depend on cameras and all those other things when you got 2 great cameras with you every day. Yes. That's your eyeballs. Yes. So guess what? Apple has gotten their AR smart glasses patent, and we've got details on it, folks. So for those that are watching us right now, you've got an image of what that looks like. You have a pretty good understanding with the hand showing on the other side of the glasses of what this is going to look like in the near, and I say really near future,
yes.
For augmented reality with Apple. Jay, we didn't gave the people the breakdown, but let me ask you, as an avid Apple fan, I see 3 Apple products over there on your side of the table, 3 of them, count them. How do you feel about Apple moving into the AR space with glasses? Tell us how you really feel, man.
Okay, I'm very excited because as we know, the Google Glass made a comeback with Google Glass 2.0. We talked about in last week's episode. But I am so happy to see that they move into this space and they decided to go into the AR space before the VR space.
Smart move.
Because I feel AR space can be leveraged in so many different types of industries. Also, it can be in so many different new verticals, and also too, I can utilize it in everything that I do. I mean, in real life, I don't have to get into that fictitious world where I'm shut off from the physical world. I can utilize it with mixed reality, almost what HoloLens Microsoft is doing. So the AR is the device, the smart glass, the patent that we're referring to, actually come from a company that Apple purchased and acquired 2 years ago. And the most recent one they done before last week was in the 2013. But now a new patent just went through. Now since Apple acquired them, and this is showing us some things.
Hey,
this showing us some stuff right here, bro. That Apple wants you to be able to, when you wear that smart glasses, you'll automatically be able to see through this transparent type of screen film around the glasses that you can actually see that this marker point, say from Apple Maps, that this is so and so building. You may also be able to touch it, and it can also give you more information regarding it. Also, too, on another screenshot we don't have here, able to show you at the time, unfortunately, but they demo where the Apple AR glasses can be inside of a car, a smart autonomous vehicle, and it can show you all the knobs and buttons, what everything does inside of that vehicle with your glasses on. And that's a lot of computation, a lot of data, but it's amazing to see that those AR glasses will have these capabilities. But the biggest things is that they are going to support ads, and they're going to have another app store for the AR smart glasses. You can count on that.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and our intern asked this question while Jay was talking. How do you handle those people who currently have glasses?
Okay.
And which is a great question, because you would think that you're now limiting them. What I suspect is Apple's gonna partnership with optometrists.
Oh, okay.
And they're gonna somehow find a way to give you prescription glasses at some point, and put an overlay over your prescription, or be able to embed your prescription into their glasses. Very similar to what they do right now for watch bands, how they worked with Hermes and other companies to give you these I guess more luxury styles. They're going to get very specific to be able to meet the needs for those who do wear glasses.
Oh man, so Apple going to have stylish smart glasses.
Yeah,
the designer.
They're going to have to.
Yeah, okay.
Prescription, non-prescription. Like, they're going to have to, because you can't leave out a whole group of individuals and limit them because of their eyewear. There's just no way you can do that. I'm sure some of your people who are watching us right now, some of the people who are listening to us in your car right now, you may have a pair of glasses on, and you're going to want to utilize this. You're not going to want to wear, you're not going to want to have the situation that happens right now with people who go to the movie theaters, where you've got your glasses, and then you got to put your 3D glasses on top of your regular glasses. Like, that's horrible. You don't have to go through that. So I would assume that Apple's going to play that smart and work in that field to make sure that you would have your glasses, your smart glasses, with some type of integrated prescription.
That's a good point. And it may delay the process, but that's a good point. If they get that, they definitely have more subscribers.
Yeah.
I just have one question for you, but I'll say that question for you.
No, go ahead, man. What's your question?
The question I was going to have, how do you feel about Apple focusing on consumers and then Google refocusing with the Google Glass 2.0 going for business and industry?
Well, I would say this. They already had the Google Glass hardware done. And I think that was an easy way to get units back out into the field to get more testing on an augmented reality situation. So even though it's production for the companies that are using it, I think it's still that Alphabet X portion of Alphabet, a portion of Google that is still getting raw data and saying, okay, this is how we can improve the augmented idea, so that when they come to the market with their consumer version, which would be very similar to what Apple's doing, which would be very similar to what Samsung's going to do, like everybody's going to, like, because this will be the new smartphone. So everybody will move that direction. I think they're just going to have more beta testing done. They're going to have more knowledge, more ones and zeros already in a bucket, plus what they already got from their original Google Glass 1.0 distribution and developer side. So that's kind of how I look at it. Let's get this out there. We're sitting on 500,000 units. Let's get it out there in a business environment and get some really smart applications built that are specific for tasks. So
And you're right, and they get money off of that because they sell
Yeah,
it to the
it's a-
company.
it's a
and they
win-win.
Go back into research.
win-win for them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they got it. Might as well use it somehow.
Right,
You don't
okay.
want to put, they already done the consumer side. So, but either way, what I would love to see Google do on either front would be to advertise right here at the Sphere. So,
Yeah.
so, are you starting your business or looking for a place to advertise? Do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at the Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States, as well as modern countries across the globe. Our rich content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789 or send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv. So there it is.
Yeah.
Google, if you're listening, we got ad space for you. Let's make that happen. So let's migrate a little bit away from our Mobility Weekly, because we can talk about mobile all the time, but we want to keep that on the edge of the plate. But while we're talking about things that are on the edge of the plate, let's talk a little bit about our digital trends. Now, digital trends are things that are happening over time that are continually to pick up steam, continually to pick up this perpetual motion. It's growing, it's starting to snowball. And one of the big things we like to talk about is our big players in our delivery mechanism of the world, right? So we're talking about the content delivery, which includes your Hulus, which includes your now Amazons, which includes your Netflix, of course, who recently had earnings, who did very well overseas. And it looks like some of the niche players are starting to gain ground. Jay, what's going on with this, man?
Yeah. So talking about in the recent news about the over-the-top content provider. So over-the-top content provider is what Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime are. They are not tied or chained to a cable operator like a Comcast or a Time Warner or a satellite provider like DirecTV or Dish Network. So you only access the over-the-top OTT content from the web and your internet and your streaming. And this is showing us that today this is so prevalent that in all the broadband homes, over 59% of the users who have broadband in the U.S. have some type of over-the-top delivery service, which is Netflix or Hulu. So that's remarkable in that area. And they expect it to grow another 40% by 2022 to be over 130-something million people in the U.S. Yeah.
So we just talked about them bringing internet to rural areas. So what do you expect? Now I got internet. I want to watch, anything that's available. Give me my House of Cards.
Yes.
Give me those things, Dear White People. Give me those shows that are found on Netflix only, coming soon to Amazon Black America. Give me these shows.
Right. And I tell you, it feel like Netflix now is a must-have. I know Hulu is very popular.
It's a staple.
Yeah, but you have to have Netflix now. I mean, everything that I like most of my shows I like is on there. And you love to buy in. They pull you in without having to have all those advertisements.
True.
And they watch your content. And then they release an entire season at one time. But this staggering model right here, I think a lot of other people are going to follow suit. But they did mention there's other people in the game for OTT, over the top delivery, but I just don't see how they're going to be able to break weight. You're like, once the big three is established, it's kind of hard for anyone else to get in.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
What would I say to this? It's the deals on the back end that you've got to make in order to really provide the content, because Netflix is new to now creating their own content, right? When I say new, meaning within the last decade,
right?
They weren't content creators 20 years ago, 30 years. They weren't an HBO or Showtime.
No.
They weren't an ABC. I don't know if WB has been around that long, but they weren't some of these household names that were about creating content. Lionsgate,
Right.
Some of these bigger production studios that all they do is create content. So on one hand, while I see them continuing to grow, I think, as the article talks about, the niche players starting to come up as well. Some of these other places, the Crackles and some of these other things.
Crunchyroll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got to be. Well, I'm not sure how I run shows, but you got to be it.
Right.
You've got to be able to have the content in a way that is original to your platform if you want to start to supersede the debt and all these other things that are associated. Because I think that's what some of these players are going to have the problem with. People are running to you, that's fine, you're getting these subscriptions, but you end up like a Netflix who's $20 billion in debt, right?
Yeah.
But that's because they're getting these license deals with all these other companies who are creating the content. So you've got to have that original content if you really want to stay on top, because you don't want to peak out and fizzle, right? I like now you also have to play in your niche. Hulu's in a particular niche because Hulu kind of replaces your standard TV shows because you get them later that night, if not the next day. Whereas Netflix is doing so much. You've got original content, you've got movies, you've got TV shows, you got I think they have a wider net, and I'm just a bit concerned at times, but you're right. It's hard to. I couldn't live without Netflix.
Yeah, I not neither.
And I used to be the guy getting the DVDs.
Yeah,
I don't know if you were like that, but I used to get my 3 in the mail.
Yeah.
So now, moving staying on the subscription page. These over the top, somewhat too big to fail companies. I would wonder now. Will these bigger companies start to buy out some of the smaller companies? Crunchyroll, as you mentioned, Crackle, shit, even Hulu.
You know what? Probably would.
Could Hulu get bought by a Netflix? And Netflix say, okay, let me just buy Hulu. Right. And would that be smart? So there's so many different things that can come down the pipe from this. I'm just wondering what's going to happen.
And remember, we talked about, I think 3 episodes ago, Apple. Trying to do the same thing to follow the model, and they had original content, and they have people subscribe to them
on Apple Music,
see video content on Apple Music. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I think 3 is usually the good number for me. Just like the gaming consoles. 3 gaming consoles: Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. That's it.
Any
sorry,
more
Sega.
options? Then
Sega. You've been gone a long time. That's why they got booted out years ago.
Yeah, it happens.
But it's 3 and that's it.
Yeah.
But
and I think you're right. I mean, from that perspective, I think to me that makes sense.
Unless Apple buys Hulu and they have the ultimate Apple TV.
Apple has the money to.
Yeah, they had the money. Like you mentioned, Apple could buy Hulu and have the best TV platform where they already got the thing on the iTunes store where you can download and buy the whole seasons.
Yeah.
They can buy Hulu TV. They'll make them even,
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I hear you. I'm thinking like, I could.
Apple buys Hulu. That's
Apple
the best
buys
move for them to
Hulu.
do. They would surpass everyone because they got the rights. They're the only very few people I know that can sell episodes. I think Microsoft has something. Was it Groove or whatever? Where they sell episodes on Xbox. I don't know how to ever go to it. The media on Xbox. I have Apple, but.
And you're saying buy them to have their subscription base is what you're saying, all their subscribers?
They have a subscription, so not only would they be able to say, hey, I want to see the episode that came on earlier today, tonight, or I want to see it the next day, but also if I want to go ahead and buy the season, I can too on Apple.
Do you think, and let me ask this question, do you think that if someone has the ability to just stream it via a Hulu that's now under Apple, do you think that cuts into them being able to sell seasons?
Well, I think Apple would have time limits on how long that streaming content is available.
So kind of like what Hulu does now, like episode, only 5 episodes,
and that makes you so bad because when I do discover a new show and I want to go see the first 3 episodes, they never had the first pilot, the first 2, 3 on it, and I'm gone. So Apple will find some kind of way to monopolize on it, but I just felt like to me, the best thing for them to do to come in the game, trying to come in and compete with those 3 is too hard. Yeah. You're going to like you mentioned earlier, and I was trying to think when you said that Netflix buy Hulu, but I was trying to think Apple trying to come in the mix. Apple probably had to be the one to buy Hulu. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see where you're headed. Okay.
Because I don't see any of the social websites like Instagram, with Facebook, anybody trying to get in this space. Yeah. So I feel like the only one who can get in this space will have to be Apple, who's trying to come in late in the game, and they're going to have to acquire somebody. And like you said, I don't think Netflix need Hulu to stay afloat on top.
I agree.
Because we love the whole season with no commercials. And
we do.
You're right. We love that.
You're right. The only thing about the difference between the two is that on Hulu, their shows are up the next day. Whereas Netflix, you don't get that season until that season is over.
That's true.
So they're on season 4 of, which will be at some point, season 4 of Flash. Now season 3 is available on Netflix. So they finished season 3 and you're waiting on season 4, but now season 3 is available. Versus season 4, episode 1 is up the day after it went live.
Right. That's why I think Apple will be the better one, because Apple has that episode that just came on for you to buy already from the iTunes store. So,
but if you got it to buy,
they would cut into. I see what you're saying. They would cut into it.
So I'm sure they could find a way to make it work. But I wonder what would be their best philosophy on that.
It seems like to me Apple needs to have some other content to hit the ground running. Just those 3 or 5 shows that have original content is not enough.
Sure.
To me.
Okay.
So I don't know. But I ain't trying to make no deals with them. They ain't paying the Sphere. They ain't paying Technocrats shortly.
There it is, Jay. And we're moving on.
Right.
We're moving on.
Right.
So last but not least, something we've kind of been sitting on because we want to get through the end of July, because their date in July was a big date. Now, before we even dive deep into that, let's hear another word from one of our sponsors, Jay.
Yes. And this portion of the show is sponsored by Elite Dental Wellness.
Woo.
At Elite Dental Wellness, our vision is to create a welcoming practice that will offer exceptional dental care and a lifetime of dental wellness. We are committed to the finest possible oral care and the overall health and well-being of our patients. Elite Dental Wellness is built upon a foundation of integrity, expertise, and service. Through our commitment to modern dentistry, continuing education, and friendly atmosphere, we strive to make our patients feel that they are part of our family. Dentistry can be scary, daunting, and uncomfortable. Dr. Batiste and her team work tirelessly to ensure your comfort. Make your appointment today with Dr. Chandra Batiste at Elite Dental Wellness at 713-789-8680.
There it is. Now, remember, if you say the Sphere, you get 10% off.
Yes.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, you can.
Get 10%.
Several people have been taking advantage of it. Mention the
That's
Sphere.
free. That's free money. So
Yes.
definitely. So let's have this conversation. Something big happened last Friday, and that big thing was Tesla officially started delivery of their mainstream vehicle, the Model 3. Now, one of the reasons why this is so pivotal, and for those that are watching, you can see this vehicle on the screen here. One of the reasons why this is such a pivotal release is because this is an electric vehicle that goes 200 plus miles per charge for $35,000. And that's before the tax credit. So I say that to say this. This is officially the game changer in electric vehicles on the roads in the U.S. And I say it's the official game changer simply because the cost of this car plus electric is just about equal to the cost of a $20,000 vehicle plus gasoline and maintenance. They're the same price. So do you charge in your home, not have to worry about maintenance, or do you buy a car, buy gas on the road, and have to get your car maintained? The prices are finally the same for very similar distances. And this changes the game forever, because the concept has always been it costs too much to put batteries in the vehicle to get you the distance that you want to go. But guess what? Now the price is down. And also, guess what? You've got a charging network that's been in place for 5+ years that can take you from Cali to New York, down to Florida, across Texas. It can take you all over this country, and not just here. Guess what? It's across the world. There are chargers all over in Europe. There are chargers in Japan. There's chargers going in China. Everywhere. So we finally have a vehicle from Mr. Elon Musk himself that is ready to rock and roll, and it is being delivered now. We're going to take a look at the production timeline. And so right now, for those that are watching us right now, we're going to get this up on the screen. We're sitting here in the beginning of August, And their idea, their concept is that they want to ramp up production. So all throughout the rest of this year, you're going to see production ramp up to where they're literally delivering 5,000 vehicles a week. And that's just going from 2017. Now in 2018, their goal is to deliver 500,000 vehicles per year, every year. And one of the biggest questions that I get or people ask me is, well, what's the difference between the Model S and the Model 3? So we're going to talk about that because it's important. So for those that are watching us, the benefits of a video podcast. So if you're listening, hop on and grab the video or watch it at house. Pull up your Apple TV. Make sure you're watching. So watch it on the web. We're going to show you the Model S versus the Model 3. So basically, we've got a slightly smaller vehicle in the Model 3 coming in at 184 inches versus 196 inches. So we're not talking about too big of a deal, about a foot difference. Now, the delivery time is heightened right now, right? You can get a Model S in a little under in as short as a week, but you can also 1 or 2 months depending on how you build it out. Whereas on the Model 3, as you see, 12 to 18 months, based on the fact that they've got 500,000 orders sitting in the queue right now at $1,000 a pop that people put up. We're talking $50 billion sitting in cash on orders just for the Model 3. So then people always want to talk about speed. So let's talk a little bit about the performance. On the Model S, obviously, you as fast as 2.5 seconds from 0 to 60. The slowest one is 4.3 seconds, whereas the Model, I know that's fast, right?
That's fast.
The Model 3, 5.1 seconds up to 5.6 seconds. So it's not the fastest vehicle in comparison to its big brother, but still, you're talking a sub 6 second car for 0 to 60. That's faster than a lot of vehicles at that price
and
point.
It's a sedan
at
for
a
that
$35,000
size,
at a $35,000.
Right.
Now the range. I can't tell you how many people say, gee, how far can you get on the car? Don't you scared about charging? Look, Model 3, you're getting from 220 miles to 310 miles. Now, this is EPA rating, so mileage will vary depending on conditions, whereas the Model S, you're getting 249 miles up to 335 with your dual motors. Now, supercharging is what we were talking about a minute ago. You've got your charging network that's across the continental United States, right? Free, unlimited. With ownership and things like that on the Model S side, but for the Model 3, you're going to pay per use. So here's the good thing with that. You're not being charged for something you rarely use. And I like that concept because I remember there was a cost associated with your vehicle depending on when you bought your Model S where you could enable supercharging, but if you never used it, do you pay the money to enable it? So I think this is pretty good. Pay per use supercharger. So you're not just paying up front for something you may never use. And when you need it, you got it.
Okay.
It ties to your account.
Okay.
Seating 5 adults. So that's a full-size vehicle. So you get 5 adults in there. And cargo, you get about 15 cubic feet. Now that's enough, standard cargo. You're good. And that's with the manual trunk. And they also have a power lift gate as well version. It's just not on the site right here. Now in here, this is one of the biggest changes that you're going to notice is that the display, no longer do you have your display that sits above your steering column. You no longer have that. What you have now is one 15-inch display, and we're going to find some images of the interior for you so you can see what that looks like. But you've got one 15-inch display that you're looking at that's going to give you all your data. And I'm talking speedometer. I'm talking navigation, music, climate. I mean, the inside of this car is very, what word would be? I don't want to say compact because that's the wrong name. But I will say that the insides are very minimalistic, so to speak. So if you're watching it right now, you can get an idea of what this looks like. And I believe this one was pre-production, but their pre-production was very, very close to final build. But that's pretty much what you're looking at, which is for those that are watching, you've got the 15-inch display. Basically, it looks like a big laptop screen that's right in the middle of the dash, and that's going to give you all of your controls and your speedometer. Everything that you need is going to be on that one display. So nothing above the steering wheel. Now, why is it like that? Well, go ahead, Jay.
I feel like, so maybe you've been asked that question. So I'm sure the heads-up display, is it going to be on the windshield?
No. Everything. So if you're driving here, everything's over here. Speedometer, all that.
Okay, why did they elect not to have the heads-up display where it's like far in front of you, like right on the windshield? You can see the speed you're going and see the direction navi.
I would assume because one, they're trying to cut costs to keep the cost down low, and two, make the build a lot easier. So if you did that, now you need a totally different dash. You get it as a premium option, non-premium option, different dash, and now you've got to somehow send that data back to that part, then use the mirror to refract it into the lens. So
Yeah, okay.
I see why they did it.
Right.
That's going to be different.
Yeah.
And what you're expressing is what anybody expresses when something has been a standard for 100+ years.
Right.
For 100 years, we've had gauges over your steering wheel.
Right.
Now it's gone. It's gone. No more. Now let me tell you why. Because these cars are built to drive themselves.
Yeah.
What we hadn't mentioned, and we will mention right now, is that these cars come with fully autonomous hardware. Meaning these cars that are on the road today from Tesla, $35,000 electric vehicle, is designed from the ground up to drive itself. These cars are designed to be at some point, be able to go in fleet mode and literally come pick you up, drop you off, go perform Uber-like functionality autonomously on its own, then come back to pick you up and take you home. Take you to the grocery store, come back and pick you up from the grocery store. It's designed to be your personal Uber service. No longer will you have to necessarily drive the vehicle, so there's no need to have all this information in front of you.
That's a huge investment for $35K. That's just
look.
Oh my goodness,
that's
look. That's loaded with features.
It is. And speaking of features, let's talk about them a little bit. So you got the Model 3 specs. Now, obviously, you got the safety coming in with the automatic emergency braking, collision avoidance. You've got your airbags, 8 airbags, traction control, those things. From a convenience perspective, we've got the touchscreen. We've got Wi-Fi and LTE connectivity. You obviously keyless entry, and you've got climate controls with your app. You got voice-activated controls. You've got your standard split folding seats in the back. You've got and standard interior. Now, two different types. Standard interior, so this is on every vehicle, which is the touch screen, which we talked about. Dual climate zones, FM, internet radio, the textile seating. Then you got your center console with USB ports for charging your devices or plugging in, other devices with content. Now, premium upgrade, so you can get this jazzy if you want it like that. You've got heated seatings. You've got wood decor, rear USB ports. You've got powered seats, 12-way adjustable, mirrors that slide in and out. You've got premium audio. You've got tinted glass. You've got ultraviolet and infrared protection on the roof. You've got auto dimming and heated side mirrors, LED fog lamps, as well as a center console with covered storage. So you've got the premium features that you get in a luxury brand in a smaller vehicle, mid-size sedan that's fully electric, that has the capabilities, as I mentioned, to be fully autonomous. And, of course, your warranty, 4-year 50, 8-year 100 on your standard, and then a long-range version, which is the one that goes up to the 310 mile range, which you talked about earlier. That one you can get 120,000 mile warranty, 8-year on that.
That's good.
So,
very good.
Yeah. Now, and that's going to be your battery warranty, obviously. So your battery, your inductor, and your motor. So basically your quote-unquote powertrain. 8-year, 120,000 miles. 4-year, 50, bumper to bumper. Starts at 35. I've seen some numbers online with all the pricing and specs like that. And Tesla doesn't have it officially on their website. From what I've seen, fully loaded, everything you can put in there takes it up to right at 60,000.
Okay.
With everything. I'm talking every feature available.
Okay.
60K.
That's still reasonable.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, that's fully loaded.
Yeah.
0 to 60 in whatever I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 0 to 60 in a little over 5 seconds with 300 miles range for an electric vehicle for right at 60K. And that's with everything, the nicer wheels, the premium sound. And for the things you don't want, you could have a great vehicle at $40,000 that you're not paying any gasoline cost on.
Right.
That may be costing you $20 a month, literally $20 a month to charge, $30 a month to charge, depending on how much you drive.
Right.
$30 a month versus $200 in gas.
Right.
$30 a month versus an oil change and spark plugs and all this stuff that every 3 months. You know what I'm saying? So it's something to think about.
Man, I was
Options.
just thinking about those people who do want one, but who live in apartments, or people who live in lease homes. They can't make additions to the electrical power and panels in their homes, things like that.
Yeah.
But it's this thing is going to sell very well, and I think once people sit on the road more, especially in Houston. I think didn't you tell me before that Houston's one of the largest.
Houston is one of the largest purchasers so far. Well, not Houston, but Texas as a whole of Tesla. So we were number 2 behind California at one point. I'm not sure where we're at now, but we're number 2 behind Cali.
Wow.
So, but it's coming. I mean, excuse me, it's here.
Yeah.
No more, it's coming. It is here,
here.
folks.
Okay.
You've got it. This is the automotive shift. And we're going to see what happens moving forward, man. But that's it. That's all we got for you today. Because obviously we could keep this party rolling, but we won't. We won't do that to you. Jay, this has been another great episode,
Yes,
my
has,
man.
bro. Yes, it has.
Where can the good people reach you, good sir?
Hey, y'all can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. But Astro Tesla 80, I finally added some more.
There it is. So, and of course, you can reach me anywhere online, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, at G Hawkins. That's G Hawkins with a Z. Remember, you can hit us here at the show. If you got any deep dive questions, shoot us an email, Technocrats at thesphere.tv, or on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at thesphere.tv, hashtag Technocrats. That's all we got for you, folks. We're out of here. See you next week. Take care.